Happy July 4th, 2020. I'll be reading my Declaration of Rights and Grievances. It'll take about 6 minutes if you want to skip around or just go straight to the end. It's a fun one. As a citizen of Shasta County, California, sincerely devoted with the warmest sentiments of affection and duty to the governor's person and my board of supervisors, inviolably attached to this present happy establishment of Shasta County, and with my mind deeply impressed by a sense of present and impending misfortune of the state of California, on this continent, having considered as maturely as time would permit the circumstances of my county, esteem it my indispensable duty to make the following declarations, and of my humble opinion, respecting the most essential rights and liberties of the people and of the grievances under which they labor by reason of several late acts of our governor. First, that the United States citizens in Shasta County owe the same allegiance to the United States that is owing to from all citizens born within its borders, and all due subordination to that republic, the United States of America. Second, that the California residents in Shasta County are entitled to all inherent rights and privileges of all Americans, even within the state of California. Third, that it is inseparably essential to the freedom of a people and the undoubted rights of Americans that no taxes should be imposed on them but with their own consent, given personally or by their representative. Fourth, that the people of my county are not, and from their local circumstances cannot be represented at the Capitol, nor in the House, nor in the Senate in California. Peaceful protesters were in fact arrested just a few weeks ago. Fifth, that the only representatives of the people of Shasta County are persons chosen therein by themselves, and that no restriction of rights have ever been or can constitutionally be imposed on them, even by their governor or local county government. Sixth, it is unreasonable and inconsistent with the principles and the spirit of the American Constitution for the people of California to grant the governor the ability to change laws, state law of the people. Seventh, that trial by jury is the inherent and invaluable right of every American citizen in Shasta County. Eighth, that the late act of the governor entitled A State of Emergency, imposing shelter-in-place restrictions, variances, and stages on the inhabitants of my county, and the said act and several other acts by extending the jurisdiction of the courts beyond its ancient limits, have a manifest tendency to subvert the rights and liberties of the people. Ninth, that the requirements imposed by several late acts of the governor from the peculiar circumstances of my county will be extremely burdensome and grievous, and from the scarcity of specie, the fulfillment of them will be absolutely impractical. 10th, that as the profits of the trade of Shasta County ultimately center here to pay for the citations and fees which they are obliged to take from thence, they eventually contribute largely to all supplies granted there to all of America. 11th, that the restrictions imposed by several late acts of the governor on the community and businesses of my county will render them unable to remain operational in the state of California. 12th, that the increase, prosperity, and happiness of my county depends on the full and free enjoyment of my rights and liberties, and an intercourse with our state and local governments, mutually affectionate and advantageous. 13th, that it is the right of American citizens in every county to petition and redress the governor, the House, the Senate. Lastly, that it is the indispensable duty of California residents to the best of sovereigns, to America and to themselves, to endeavor by a loyal and dutiful address to the governor and humble application to both the House and the Senate to procure the repeal of the state of emergency for imposing restrictions, stages, and variances of all clauses of any other acts of this state whereby the jurisdiction of the governor has been overextended as aforesaid, and of other late acts for the restriction of American businesses and communities. Now, that declaration, the speech you've just enjoyed or endured, was a direct parallel to our Declaration of Rights and Grievances from the First Congress in New York in 1765, almost 10 years before our Declaration of Independence would be written and signed. Most of this verbiage was directly copied, as you might have noticed, some variants, of course, but the simplest change was just replacing our majesty with our governor. This declaration was written by the subjects of a king, and yet it applies shockingly well to our current situation. I think our actual state of emergency is quite clear. Our state is being ruled by a self-declared king. It's the duty now of Californians to declare the security of our rights as United States citizens. There's freedom in revealing deception, and COVID has become a ploy to strip Americans of their liberties. Let's call a spade a spade. This isn't about choosing to wear a mask or not wear a mask. It's about the right to choose. So we implore you, sheriffs, county governments, to do your duty as American officials to defend our sacred rights, our inalienable rights. And I hope that this speech convicts you as you're thankful for our independence this weekend. You are not the subject of a king. You're an American. It's time to start acting like one. Citizens of California, it's time to show up.